Obviously, devastating news. I'm heartbroken, speechless, gutted. We've been working so hard over here, everyone in this camp, and I just feel bad for everyone involved in this event, the whole undercard. Opportunity has been ripped from all of us.
Jake Paul has freaked out after Mike Tyson reportedly confirmed the cancellation of their fight. Meanwhile, boxer Amir Khan has offered to replace Tyson for his postponed fight against Jake Paul. King Khan is presently immersed in discussions to clash with KSI in the boxing ring, all while keeping a close watch on the evolving scenario of Paul versus Tyson. Khan said that if this turns out to be the case, he will replace Tyson as long as Paul loses weight. He said, "If the weights are right, I would step in for Mike Tyson. I don't mind giving away 20 pounds. It just depends on the weight, because I know Jake has put on a lot of weight to fight Mike." Khan mentioned that Jake usually isn't that big, but has gained a lot of mass. He stated that it depends on Jake's willingness to lose that weight to find a middle ground. Khan noted that he hasn't received any calls about it, so he assumes they're still hoping to fight Mike, as Jake wouldn't want to risk taking a beating before that. He added, "Let's see, but I've had no calls about that, so I assume they're still hoping to fight Mike. He's not going to want to take a beating before that." Amir Khan further added that KSI has been talking a big game, and once KSI has taken a beating, he might as well take on both KSI and Jake Paul. He expressed his intention to face KSI first and then knock out Jake Paul afterward. Khan mentioned that he would consider how Jake Paul performs against Mike Tyson. If Jake gets knocked out badly, he wouldn't entertain the idea, but if Jake looks really good, then it would be worth considering. He added, "But it's KSI who has been speaking the big game, and once he's taken a beating, and if I'm going to do that, I may as well bang both of them out. I'd take on KSI first and then knock Jake Paul out after that." Khan boxed 40 fights as a professional, moving up from lightweight to middleweight. He won the world titles of the WBA and IBF while competing at super lightweight, where he was at his best. In contrast, Paul is reported to have bulked up to 230 pounds for his heavyweight fight against Tyson. Paul has never boxed below a catch weight of 185 pounds, but the problem child just disclosed that since the fight was rescheduled, he has already shed a good deal of weight. Mauricio Sulaiman, the president of the WBC, lauded the contributions of both Paul and Tyson to the boxing realm. In an exclusive interview with Casino Reviews, he shared his insights on the eagerly anticipated upcoming bout. Sulaiman emphasized the paramount importance of prioritizing health and safety in fight planning, particularly when there's a significant age gap between the competitors. He said, "I'm a good friend of Mike Tyson, but also a good friend of Jake Paul. Jake has done unbelievably positive work for boxing, bringing millions of eyeballs to the sport from his fan base and also giving opportunities to many fighters to fight on his cards. And it's been a very positive result." Sulaiman added that Mike Tyson is a legend of the ring, and at nearly 58 years old, safety will always be the top priority. He clarified that the fight does not involve any WBC participation and is an 8-round fight with 2 minutes per round, making it a matter for the local commission of Texas to evaluate. Sulaiman emphasized, "It is a fight that does not have any WBC involvement. It is an 8-round fight with 2 minutes per round, so it is a matter for the local commission of Texas to evaluate. Of course, we worry about every fight, whether it's a 4-rounder with a beginner or it's Mike Tyson at 58 fighting. We worry about safety." Sulaiman added that he believes Mike Tyson, as a legend, will always have potential with his heavy punch, depending on his condition and health. He noted that Jake Paul is a boxer who is just starting in the professional ranks, aiming to become a world champion. Sulaiman remarked, "Jake Paul is a boxer and is just starting in the professional ranks to try to become a world champion. It's a very interesting, complicated topic. There's no real answer to it. I just pray and hope both fighters go back home with complete health." It is true to say that Jake Paul faced a significant setback in his lifelong aspiration to step into the ring with Iron Mike Tyson, as the 58-year-old legend withdrew from the event due to medical reasons. This unexpected turn has left Paul grappling with significant challenges concerning the undercard. Meanwhile, Netflix is anticipated to unveil a new event date within the initial week of June. On that fateful evening, Paul and Tyson weren't the sole monarchs of the boxing ring. Ireland's own Katie Taylor was poised to engage in a rematch against Amanda Serrano on July 20th. Alas, fate had other plans, delaying the clash of these titans. This suggests that Paul will face mounting pressure to step into Tyson's shoes and guarantee the success of the AT&T Stadium event. With Taylor Serrano and other seasoned professional boxers unwilling to linger for Tyson's recovery at 58, the responsibility falls squarely on Paul's shoulders. Boxing Kingdom said on X, Jake Paul is in a difficult situation here. The Mike Tyson fight is being rescheduled for Q4. The dilemma is, the undercard is very expensive, and stars like Katie Taylor can't just sit out for an extended period of time. time. They further added that the purses for the undercard fighters are substantial. Most importantly, there is no guarantee that Mike Tyson can even fight in the fourth quarter, given his age and current health. They added, in addition to that, the purses for the undercard fighters are huge, and most importantly, no guarantee Mike Tyson can even fight in Q4, given his age and current health. The solution would be Jake Paul fighting 52-year-old David Tua. At 37 years old, Taylor stands on the brink of her career's twilight, boasting an impressive record of just one defeat in 24 fights. She reigns as the undisputed champion in both the world lightweight and super lightweight divisions, emphasizing the urgency for KT as time ticks away. Similarly, at 35 years old, Serrano finds herself in the twilight of her career, with retirement looming on the horizon. Any delay in her upcoming bout until the latter part of 2024 would signify a significant loss of time as she endeavors to reclaim the coveted WBA, WBC, WBO, IBF, and the ring lightweight titles. Tyson, poised for his triumphant return to the professional boxing scene, has opted to step back from his eagerly awaited comeback bout, citing medical reasons. Despite this setback, his resolve remains unshaken, dismissing the setback as nothing more than a minor obstacle on his path to glory. Due to medical advisories, the upcoming bout under the banner of Most Valuable Promotions and Netflix has been rescheduled. Both fighters have unanimously consented to this adjustment, recognizing the importance of equitable preparation time as per their physician's recommendation. MVP stated in a press release that Mike Tyson has been recommended to do minimal to light training over the next few weeks before returning to full training without limitations. They mentioned that both Mike and Jake agree it is only fair to ensure both athletes have equal training time to prepare for this important match. MVP said, both Mike and Jake are in agreement that it is only fair to ensure that both athletes have equal training time to prepare for this important match and are able to compete at the highest level. The health and well-being of athletes is our top priority, and we fully support Mike in taking the necessary time to allow him to perform at the level he expects of himself. In an unguarded moment captured on Instagram, Jake Paul bared his soul, revealing the inner turmoil he's grappling with after the abrupt delay of his much-awaited showdown with the boxing icon, Mike Tyson. The profound disclosure has ignited a substantial reaction among his supporters and catalyzed a wider discourse surrounding the well-being obstacles encountered by prominent figures in the realms of sports and entertainment. Evidently affected by the news, Jake Paul posted a video to his fans expressing his dissatisfaction and sadness. Paul is disappointed about the fight being rescheduled because of Tyson's health problems, but he agrees with the decision. Jake Paul said, "I fully support postponing the event, so Mike Tyson has no excuses come fight night. My fans know I don't want to face Iron Mike at anything but his best, but let there be no mistake. When he steps into the ring with me, I will be ready to claim my W with a sensational finish. Paul versus Tyson will be one for the ages, and I promise to bring my best for this once-in-a-lifetime matchup. Those who bought tickets for the original fight date can use them for the new date, or if they are unable to attend, they can get a refund." Postponing became imperative as Tyson grappled with a sudden ulcer flare-up mid-flight, throwing a wrench into his carefully crafted training routine. Even at 57, Tyson remains resolute in staging a remarkable return to the ring, but safeguarding his health assumes paramount importance. Netflix announced, unfortunately, Jake Paul and Mike Tyson will not face off on July 20th as planned. Tyson's recent ulcer flare-up has limited his ability to train fully for the next few weeks. The fight will be rescheduled for a date later this year, after Mike's able to resume training with no limitations and both fighters can have equal time to prepare for this once-in-a-lifetime matchup. Meanwhile, Jake Paul shocked fans with the declaration that he'd be bidding farewell to his beloved pizza. This abrupt dietary change came as a result of the postponement of his fight. Pizza had been a staple in Paul's regimen, aiding him in his quest to reach the heavyweight threshold. Yet, with Tyson's health concerns causing the delay of their clash, Paul made the difficult decision to shift focus and prepare for potential lighter adversaries. Jake Paul, typically seen duking it out in the cruiserweight realm, faces a weighty decision in anticipation of his potential clash with KSI. The latter, eager for a showdown, demands a bout at 185 pounds come December, necessitating Paul to shed some pounds. Amid swirling speculations, the problem child teased fans with a snapshot showcasing his noticeably trimmer physique, accompanied by the cryptic caption. He said, "No more heavyweight eating for Mike Tyson for the next few weeks. Bye-bye pizza, back down to 219 already. It was fun being fat. I will miss you Fat Jakey. You were so cute and fluffy. It seems Jake Paul is gearing up to drop down in weight class for his upcoming bout, although there's been no official word on his next opponent, keeping fans guessing. Meanwhile, the problem child couldn't resist taking a playful jab at Dana White amidst the uncertainty surrounding Conor McGregor's status for UFC 303. UFC honcho Dana White found himself in a rare moment of bewilderment when Jake Paul's showdown with Mike Tyson hit a snag. White, usually quick with words, admitted to being momentarily rendered speechless, a first in his colorful life. Aware of Tyson's aversion to discussing the bout, White talked cautiously, not wanting to ruffle the heavyweight legend's feathers.
Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul is delayed. I know you're close with Mike. I guess, are you happy that they're looking out for his health in that instance? And do you even think it should be rescheduled, period, given this ulcer flare-up?
100%. Yeah, obviously I know a lot about it, but I'm not going to talk about it publicly. Yeah, you know. Yeah. I for the first time probably ever in my life, I have no comment on something. That's Mike's world, and you know he gets pissed at me every time I talk about that stuff. Good for him, and they'll figure it out.
However, as skepticism swirled around UFC 303, Paul seized the opportunity to fire back at White with finesse. He said, "People keep asking me about Conor McGregor at UFC 303. Obviously, I know a lot about it, but I'm not going to talk about it publicly. For the first time, probably ever in my life, I have no comment on something. That's their world. And, you know, they get pissed at me every time I talk about that stuff. Good for them, and they'll figure it out." In addition to delivering a cryptic retort to White, Paul delved into the universal concept of karma, warning that no one escapes its reach. He suggested that the UFC president might ruefully reconsider his celebration of the canceled boxing match. Curiously, White has remained silent in response to Paul's words, seemingly preoccupied with the swirling rumors and conjectures surrounding McGregor's upcoming performance at UFC 303. Additionally, a past UFC title holder advises Jake Paul to consider different adversaries for the time being. During a conversation with Ariel Helwani on the latest installment of MMA Hour, Demetrius Johnson highlighted Mike's age of 58 and raised concerns about his health background. Johnson stressed the potential risks of someone of that age pushing their body to extremes. While acknowledging his respect for Jake Paul, Johnson suggested that there were numerous other boxers Paul could face to enhance his track record. Ultimately, Johnson concluded that revisiting the fight might not be the best course of action.
I don't know what his health history is, I guess you can say. And I think the biggest thing is you have someone who's 58 years old trying to push his body to the absolute limit, moving, and I don't know if he's sparring or anything like that. And I love Jake Paul. I just think I would like to see Jake Paul fight. There's so many fucking boxers out there that he can fight and pad his record with. And I understand Mike Tyson is a big name and Netflix wants to do it, but I don't think they should revisit it. I think there's plenty of guys out there that, you know, Jake Paul can fight. And KSI is one of them. He could fight T. Wood again. He could fight Mike Perry, Platinum.
Johnson adheres to a clear rationale. The risk of facing Mike Tyson is simply too great, and the prospect of any harm befalling Tyson is undesirable to all. It appears Jake Paul also comprehends this principle to a degree. Known for his relentless combativeness, Paul regularly enters the ring multiple times each year. His inaugural bout in 2024 showcased his skill with a stunning knockout triumph over Ryan Borland. The anticipated bout has been rescheduled to a later date, pitting the fighters against an unknown opponent. Speculation suggests that KSI might join the fray alongside Paul. This delay means Paul will be inactive for a while, but without any fault of his own. In a string of tweets, Paul hinted at the possibility of a preliminary match before his showdown with Tyson. Later in the year, Sports Illustrated's Chris Mannix voiced sincere doubts about whether the game will still go. Other fighters on the card are growing more and more nervous about the planned event, despite Mannix stating in an interview with The Rich Eisen Show that two potential rescheduling dates, one in mid-October and the other in mid-November, were being considered. Mannix expressed genuine concern from others involved in the card, noting that there are several other fights on the card. He said, "Again, Mike Tyson is 57 years old. He's almost 58 years old. They're saying it's a minor ulcer issue, but I don't think anything's minor. At that stage of your life, especially when it comes to putting yourself in the proper shape to fight a professional boxing match." Mannix expressed that he didn't think the fight was completely off. He said, "It's certainly not out of the question. But again, there are people involved who are expressing skepticism that this specific fight is going to move forward. Amidst whispers of a potential postponement until later in the year, skeptics are questioning if the match will ever materialize. Some reports warn of the grave risk a single blow to Tyson's abdomen could pose during a bout with Paul. Consequently, the prospect of these two fighters facing off and exchanging blows seems increasingly unlikely. The fact that most valuable promotions, Paul's agency, is already issuing refunds to fans before confirming a new fight date speaks volumes about the current uncertainty surrounding the event. They said in a statement, "Previously purchased tickets will be honored for the new date. No action is needed to keep the current tickets and seat locations. Those unable to attend the rescheduled date are eligible for a refund at their original point of purchase." Tyson stands on the precipice of a formidable challenge, his path to donning the gloves again, obstructed by the necessity of securing medical clearance from his physicians. The sands of time have sculpted Tyson's journey, each year adding weight to the uncertainty surrounding his ability to obtain the necessary approval. A decade and a half have passed since his last bout in 2005, casting doubt on whether Tyson's advancing. Age presents an insurmountable obstacle to a professional comeback. Should the pronouncement of his doctors veer unfavorably, Tyson will inevitably confront the sobering truth of bidding adieu to his storied boxing career. Michael Bisping, a prominent figure in the UFC world, has voiced apprehension about the impending clash between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. While Bisping acknowledges Tyson's legendary status in combat sports, he questions the wisdom of proceeding with the bout, citing the stark 30-year age gap between the fighters and emphasizing the evident disparity it presents.
Mike Tyson was involved in a medical emergency. Paramedics had to be rushed onto the plane. They asked for a doctor. It flashed up on people's screens. Is there a doctor on board? The doctors had to come on and take Mike Tyson off the plane. It is not a good look, and this is not good press when you're trying to promote a fight and you're 58 years old.
Bisping commended Tyson's bravery for stepping into the ring against Jake Paul and pondered whether Tyson's challenges might stem from a resurgence of an ulcer, albeit acknowledging his own unfamiliarity with the condition. Furthermore, he expressed surprise at the notion of a man approaching 58 years of age encountering discomfort during a short plane journey, insinuating that such inconveniences are typically associated with younger individuals.
And I've got no problem with Mike Tyson. He's 58. I respect him. This is taking massive balls of him to go in there against Jake Paul, even though he's by far the better boxer. He's got way more experience, miles on the clock, long in the tooth, and he's got medical emergencies, and apparently he's got ulcers, okay? That's the excuse that they have given.
Moreover, Bisping emphasized the detrimental reflection this scenario cast upon the realms of boxing and Jake Paul alike, underscoring the imperative of avoiding such matches. He made clear his distinction between critiquing Mike Tyson and understanding Tyson's pursuit of remaining engaged, financially sound, and fulfilled in his craft. Yet, Bisping articulated that Tyson's zenith had elapsed, likening it to a ship setting sail and a plane departing the runway, albeit with a delay attributed to the sweltering heat, which he surmised could have exacerbated Tyson's ulcer flare-up.
This is just a great example of why a fight like this should not be going ahead. Mike Tyson is not the same person. We know there's video clips out there, and he's looking fast, and he's looking brutal, and he's looking deadly, and he's got the power. But it's easy to edit up a quick little TikTok video. You know, a few seconds looking good. You can see the cut shots. You see the interludes. Their editor is not as good as my guy, John Brannigan, okay? You can see the edits, okay? You can look good for a couple of seconds, but try doing that sustained over 8 2-minute rounds against a guy that's in his prime. I'm not talking shit about Mike Tyson. I'm talking shit about Jake Paul. Mike Tyson wants to test the waters, see if he's still got it. He wants to make some money. He wants to feel alive. He wants to get back in the ring, okay? And he wants to do what he does best, okay? But that time has passed. That ship has sailed. That plane has left the runway, but not for a while because it was delayed and it was hot on the plane, and then Mike Tyson got an ulcer flare-up and had to leave on a bloody stretcher.
In a surprising turn of events, Floyd Mayweather has emerged from the shadows to voice his support for Jake Paul's imminent bout against Mike Tyson. Amidst the mounting scrutiny surrounding Paul's decision to step into the ring with Tyson, Mayweather has chosen to lend his endorsement. In discussing the imminent showdown, Mayweather observed Jake's endeavors with a hint of admiration. He conceded that if Jake could sustain his lucrative streak and maintain the caliber of his opponents as he had, there was little room for reproach. Mayweather further noted that if Jake's trajectory remained unchanged, he warranted recognition for his achievements.
Real boxer, because I feel like people are still confused on if Jake Paul is a YouTuber boxer or a real boxer. How do you feel like you get out of that bubble to make somebody a real boxer?
I mean, what he's doing is, I mean, kind of cool. If he can continue to steal money and they match him the way they match him, I can't knock his hustle. So if they can match him the way how they've been matching him, more power to him.
Mayweather's unexpectedly conciliatory stance might catch some off guard, given the lengthy history of animosity between him and Paul. The feud ignited when Paul provocatively snatched Mayweather's hat during a media event for his brother Logan's bout against the legendary Money. The persistent anticipation of a showdown between these rivals has kept fans on edge, with Paul boldly asserting his mission to lure the retired champion back into the ring for a final clash. Yet, despite the tantalizing prospect, Mayweather has rebuffed offers, casting doubt on whether they'll ever meet in the squared circle. Ricky Hatton believes that Mike Tyson and Jake Paul's fight ought to be canceled. He insisted that the bout was entertainment and called it an absolute joke, rejecting the notion that it was boxing. During an open and heated discussion with Lord Ping, Hatton fervently advocated for action to keep the two from fighting, stressing the need to safeguard Tyson's welfare and maintain the integrity of the game. Hatton fumed, "I think it's a complete shambles, to be honest with you. Someone needs to have a word and try to stop it from happening. I've always said that the influencer fighting game is entertainment, and I've never really had an issue with influencer boxing. If people want to watch it, then that's fine. But let's call it what it is, entertainment." Moreover, Hatton emphasized the coexistence of traditional boxing alongside the emerging trend of influencer boxing, stressing that the vitality of the sport lay in the creation of significant matchups. He contended that the participation of YouTubers in boxing did not undermine its integrity. Rather, the failure to orchestrate marquee bouts was the real detriment. Hatton harbored no ill feelings toward those profiting from these matchups, extending well wishes to figures such as Tommy Fury, KSI, Jake Paul, and their counterparts. Hatton said, "If he were to knock him out, he'd be knocking out one of his heroes. How could he live with that on his conscience? It doesn't matter how much money is involved. How would you be able to look at yourself in the mirror? I think it's completely crazy. It's a joke." Nothing surprises me in the boxing and entertainment business. On the other hand, Joe Rogan has voiced profound apprehensions regarding Mike Tyson's well-being, wary that Jake Paul could deal considerable damage to the boxing icon. Rogan particularly emphasizes the peril of Tyson facing potentially life-threatening repercussions in the eagerly awaited showdown against Paul. Rogan highlighted the lingering uncertainty surrounding the approval of the fight. He mentioned the looming specter of potential protests that might thwart its progression.
Like, that's crazy.
If Tyson dies, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah. See, if you have something like that, if you have, look, if
That'd
this,
be the end of the.
right.
Yeah, that'd be the end of that experiment.
Let's imagine it in a different way, right? Let's not imagine that Mike Tyson is fighting Jake Paul. Let's imagine Mike Tyson is fighting some young, like really powerful knockout artist.
Even as Rogan expresses his sincere worries for Tyson's health, he remains open to the idea of Iron Mike making a triumphant return and possibly dealing a decisive blow to Paul. Speculating from his position as a UFC commentator, Rogan ponders that if Tyson could recapture even 70% of his former athleticism, it would pose a significant challenge for Paul. The raw power exhibited by Tyson during his bag workouts suggests that his punching prowess remains as formidable as ever.
Artist who's a contender. Well, guess what? Jake Paul could be that guy if we didn't think of him as Jake Paul. If you look at the people he knocks dead, when he knocked dead Tyron Woodley with one punch, that dude
I was there.
Fucking crack.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, so like that's what I'm saying. Exactly what you're saying. We don't want to give him credit because it's Jake Paul.
Exactly.
But we gotta wake up and realize that he's still 27, young, and for the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years, he's had the best coaches working with him one-on-one.
Probably 90% of the power. 70% of the physical ability and 90% of the power, because the power's not gone. You see it when he hits a bag.
Yeah, he's still got the power.
The power's there, 100%. But he's had a bunch of back issues. He had real bad sciatica.
Having the problems walking and stuff.
He's walking with a
cane. Yeah.
So, but who knows what they've done? Stem cells. I'm sure he's with the right people.
Make sure to check out some of our other videos on the screen if you enjoyed this one.